What's up, friends? So today we're going to do a Q&A specifically from my Discord community. So last week, our community on there has grown. Here it has grown, everywhere it has grown lately. Thank you to everybody who has followed me all of the places. It really means the world to me. It's been about, I think, a year or two since I last did like a Q&A, so we decided to do one. If you are interested in joining our growing Discord fam, there are 3 ways to do that. Become a Twitch sub. You can do that for free with your Amazon Prime if you haven't already used it. You can join Patreon for $1, which is the most popular way to do it because it's $1. And then you can also join OnlyFans. So once you're fam, you're fam. I don't go through and remove people every week. So that is how you can join our Discord family should you want to. Anyway, we have a tab in there called YouTube. I got in there, said drop your questions here, and these are those questions. 10 out of 10 on my community having no one asked, how did you get started in cosplay? And listen, I know that's an important question, but I promise you there's at least 40 videos on YouTube of me answering that question. So if you want to know how I got started in cosplay, check out some of my older Q&As or some of like the YouTube like interviews that I have been on, because it's a long nostalgic story and I do love it. I've answered that question 10 billion times, so we're avoiding that today. Now I'm worried that I've like shamed somebody who was like, that's the question I really wanted the answer to. My bad. No tea, no shade. Anyway, let's get into the questions from the Discord. So Boshi Adams asked another question kind of like, how did you get started in cosplay is, what is your favorite outfit or costume? But I never mind that one because it literally changes all of the time because I make new stuff all of the time. So as of now, it's Vex because that was the last costume I finished, and I love the blue. Something about the brown and the blue together, I just love that. And also, that's not a style I typically make, and so seeing myself as that like half elf woodsy character really just makes me like, yeah, it's kind of like when I get to wear April Gloria's beautiful Skyrim costumes. It kind of takes me out of the element that I usually dabble into a sort of a different genre of cosplay, and it's just so much fun. So Vex is my answer on that one for right now. Keyword for right now. This is also Boshi. If you were to do a double cosplay or group cosplay, who would you want to do that with you and why? So currently I'm working on Lord Sesshomaru, and I want an Inuyasha. I want the whole group. I want as many Inuyasha characters as possible. That would be awesome. Termina Cosplay and Lady Scarlet Rose have both offered to be my Inuyashas as they, Lady Scarlet just shot her Inuyasha, and Termina is either planning to make one or wear one that I have that my friend Spooky Alyssa is going to give me. I'm also like, I want April Gloria to be Kagome so bad. April, circle yes or no. That's like the group cosplay I'm most interested in right now, but in general, there are, oh my god, there's so many groups I would love to do, but it's a little hard right now, so that's sort of been an idea that's on the back burner. I've thought about trying to do group cosplays and have us all like photoshopped in together, but I guess, I don't know. I don't know how that would work out. My favorite one that we did last year was me and Termina Cosplay did Pain and Riku from Final Fantasy X-2. If you haven't seen those photos by Alexander Lee Studio, they're amazing. She's amazing. And I really think we knocked it out of the park. That was a really fun one. What is your favorite part about being a model? I don't know what is the definition of like model in 2021. I really like taking photos. I like getting dressed up and doing my makeup and transforming into different characters. But I also really like modeling outfits, things sent to me by companies. For instance, this crop top is from OG Nerd. Check them out. I'll include their social stuff. They sent me this and a hoodie, which I already put on my Instagram and I did a little photo shoot in. But I do enjoy doing like dabbling. But to be fair, I have actually worked really hard on like my posing skills for modeling like the costumes I make and the companies I do work for. It's just like that word model. I feel like, there's always, it's like influencer, like, oh, you're an influencer. I love seeing pretty photos, it's a lot of fun. Party asks, what 2 characters would you like to do a mashup of? This is a really good one because I really want to do a Harley Quinn, but I want to do like some kind of like mashup Harley. I feel like characters like Harley Quinn and now all of a sudden I can't think of another one from my life. Even like Tracer from Overwatch is one I see mashed up a lot, but some characters are just mash upable, right? The Scouts are Sailor Mercury, Harley Quinn. Or wait, no, not Mercury, Sailor Mars, Harley Quinn. I don't know. I really, really like mashups. It's not something I do a lot of, but I really want to do one involving Harley Quinn. So Riflestead asks, as a cosplayer, what do you look for or consider when a photographer you haven't worked with asks if you would like to do a shoot? This is a tough one to answer because I always feel bad if I'm like, I typically say no. But for me, the style of the photography is very important. So I work with typically kind of the same people over and over again. So primarily, at least, so either self shooting or my husband or Sampo Images or Eugene Photo Video, because I've been working with them forever and their styles all really lend to my content and the characters I do and the styles. But I also work a lot with Casey, April Gloria's husband, when her and I do shoots together, because I love his framing and I love her editing style. And then I work with Reed, Brazel Photo, Termina Cosplay's husbando, as well, when her and I do collaborative and even non-collaboratives. And I've also worked with Alexandra Lee. So when working with these people, a big thing for me is framing. So like, you can work together on the edits, you can go back and forth and be like, oh, I like this, but I didn't love that, but the framing is really important to me for whatever reason. However, some people's style, if they have a really like dedicated style, and if it doesn't match what I'm trying to do, I'm very quick to be like, oh, no, thank you. But that is a really difficult thing to do. I think a lot of people are afraid to say no. I know I'm guilty of this, or have been in the past, because you don't want to insult people. But if like a cosplayer or a creator tells you like, oh, no, thank you, your style just doesn't suit my work, I hope that that's not something that offends people when I do say this or when others say that, because it's very true, especially like when you have like a portfolio and it all looks a certain way together. Like, it doesn't mean your work isn't good. It just means it's not for me, and that's okay. And so I think the first thing I look for or consider when a photographer approaches me to shoot is their style and their framing. They're a big thing on their framing, but like how they engage with me if I say, because just because your style isn't right for me today doesn't mean that I might not have a character down the line where I'm like, oh my gosh, I saw your work and we have to work together on this. So a big thing is certainly how photographers take my, not at this time type of answer, I guess. So style and overall like relationship building opportunities with that photographer. Sean asks, how much research do you do about your cosplays? Also, are you a method cosplayer, technical, or a mixture of both? Ooh, these are good questions. It definitely depends on the costume. So like McCree, when I was building like the chest armor, we were all good. I had that. But when I was building the mechanical arm, oh my gosh, the research that went into that, because all of the angles of his character from the game aren't super consistent. So then I compared that against what other cosplayers who had already built it had made. I found several different tutorials and looked at the differences in those tutorials, like what was going to work best for me, because there were parts that I just wasn't getting. I was just struggling with the overall shape. So that one took a lot of research. And as for being a method cosplayer, technical, or a mixture of both, I would say probably a mixture of both. Oshiba Wolf asks, how do you deal with negative comments? Do they ever get you down, or do you have any advice on how to handle them and move on? Oh my gosh. Okay, so for me, it kind of depends on the day, but I have been on the internet for quite some time. So I delete. I just go through and I see a negative comment, I delete it. I'm not going to engage with you. Sometimes I'm feeling a little bit sassy and will engage, but 9 times out of 10, I'm deleting the comment. You don't exist, right? But of course, on things like Reddit, you can't delete comments. So I've just kind of built up a tough skin over the years. But there are still some things that are like triggering, for lack of a better word. Like there's certain things that people can say about me or my body that just will send me into kind of like a tailspin in my brain, and I have to like take a deep breath and just remember that like everyone gets shitty comments. Like, such is the nature of the internet. It's okay. It's that it says more about that person than it does about me, and try to move on from it. So that's definitely a mixture of deleting and moving on, or kind of like moving myself out of the space where I'm internalizing what that person has said. It's also, I'm always working on those triggers. So if I know something like a certain type of comment triggers me, I can't control other people making that comment, but I can control my reaction to it. So I spend a lot of time trying to do that. But just to be clear, I don't think anybody ever 1000% gets over it. Like, I wish we gave a shit more about what we say to people on the internet. I just do. And not just for my sake, but for fucking everyone's sake. Like, why are you saying shitty stuff? Scroll on. Bye. But at least there's some solace in this is something we all deal with. Maybe. I don't know. For me, there is. I mean, and that's such an individual thing as well. Like, giving advice on that type of thing is difficult because we just all have different, like, what we're willing to accept in our lives and also what makes us, like, tailspin, you know, into the pit of doom. For me, it's definitely any comments about being thick. I hate that so much. Some people love it. Good for them. Killer. I think me and Jedi Amanda discussed this on the last episode of Hot Glue and Bobby Pins. Hell yeah, I get it. If you thickums and you love it, get it. For me, no. Please. I will tailspin so hard. Don't do it. One of the comments that I get, especially when my lipsticks like this, that I do not give a shit about and I will always sass back is like, oh, she wears too much makeup. What? And? You waste time on that comment because I don't give a shit. Like, I fucking love this. I love it. I'm into it. So that's one of the ones that people do a lot, and I see that on a lot of female presenting creators content who wear especially lipstick. I think lipstick is the trigger for that comment, and I don't know what the purpose, like, what is you can we make a petition to start only leaving purposeful comments on people's stuff, intentional and purposeful and kind, or if constructive criticism has been requested, that is also done with kindness. That would be sick. Nick asks, what is one skill that I would like to learn this year? I really, really want to get better at resin casting and also airbrushing. I feel like I'm hindering myself and my builds by not being better at resin. I've only done a resin casting like a handful of times, and then I haven't airbrushed like ever. So those are two really big ones on my list this year. Last year it was sewing, and I feel really good about where I got on my sewing. And following pattern directions and repatterning, altering patterns. This year it's airbrushing and resin for sure. It was going to be wigs, but I gave up on wigs. I don't enjoy styling wigs, and one of the best things I learned was relatively recently to stop wasting time trying to do everything. Like, if it's not something that I love, why not commission somebody who does love to do it and create a collaborative moment out of that? So we're done with the wig thing. So if he doesn't want to style wigs anymore, sailors, like minor styling, yes, but like major styling, no. And I'll dye wigs, I'm okay with that, and like trim them, but real intensive styling, nah. Dark Fire asks, when working on the fine details of a costume, whether in construction or in finishing, what are some good tricks to keep oneself from getting bogged down in intricacies? Taking breaks. I think that we can get to this point where we become so like obsessed with these details that you go too far, and you can even add too many details. Like, you can over detail a piece or like over weather it, whatever that may be. And you're also at risk for not doing enough because your brain just can't see where those details need to be. So for me, when I can feel my brain malfunctioning. It feels like static when my brain's like, we gotta quit. We're burning out here. Like, we've been in this too long, looking at the thing for too long. So I will take a break. Just, no, we're leaving that costume behind, whether that's for an hour or a day or a week, or in the case of Princess Serenity, a month and a half. Whatever that looks like for you, do that for sure. Trying to force ourselves through those like burnout moments is what gets us bogged down. It affects our build as a whole and the way we perceive our build as a whole. Rapid fire ones from Boshi. Android, iOS, Windows, BlackBerry, or N-Gage. iOS. Apple for life. I have drank the punch. Mac, PC, Android, or Ubuntu. I don't know what that is. PC. I do like Mac, but I do prefer PC, even though I like Apple a lot. Preferred interactive controls: touchscreen, mouse, trackpad, mouse numb on laptops, or VR. Oh shit. Mouse, I guess. Favorite fast food restaurant, and oh my gosh, I don't eat a lot of fast food, but what is it? Popeyes. Popeyes chicken is where it's at. Like, that is the best chicken in the world. 10 out of 10 chicken. What pet you've had or want to have? I really want a husky so bad. A little white husky named Yuki. like Yuki Piro would be their full name. Yuki Piro. That's like, oh my gosh, I want a husky so bad. I just feel like me and huskies have a lot in common. Top 3 favorite colors: pink, purple, and green. Your time of day, honestly, is early morning. I suck at waking up in the early morning, but I love mornings. Pastel sky, love it. Say Strife asks, the first moment I was interested in saying I wanted to be a cosplayer. Like the first time I was like, I don't know that I even like, I mean, I knew cosplay was cosplay and cosplayers were cosplayers and you were cosplaying, but I don't know when I was like, maybe I do actually. I think it was like roughly 2014 when I was like, I'm gonna be like I'm gonna do cosplay a lot more than I have. That's kind of when I transitioned from hobby to like, well, not a transition from hobby, but my hobby started like taking over my life. And I think that's when I would like kind of start identifying as like, I'm a cosplayer. That's what I do. I cosplay. So maybe, yeah, about 6 or 7 years ago now. But I've been cosplaying for much longer. It just wasn't like part of my lifestyle until around then. Character that I saw that I thought would be simple to make, but it turned out to be complicated. Can I answer all of them? No, McCree for sure. McCree was one of those costumes where I was like, oh, this is gonna be so easy. I'll have this done in like a week, you know, speed builder. I like to build fast. And then the arm, like we were talking about earlier, like the pattern for making the arm, all of the patterns were just so different. And I just couldn't get it. You know when there's just a shape that you just cannot fucking get? Like you can see it, and you can see the pathway to it, but for whatever reason, your brain just can't compute it. That happened forever. I must have made like 10 versions of that arm and wasted so much foam before I finally got it right. So definitely that one. Best material that works for cosplayers that doesn't cost much. Oh man, I mean, the material really depends on what it is that you're making, right? Like there's just materials that work best for some things that like for instance, if you're making a bodysuit, you want something with either 2-way or 4-way stretch. I suppose that even depends on the bodysuit really, but I would argue that typically with a bodysuit, you want some pull in that. So you're probably not going to use like a really sturdy linen unless like your tailoring skills are crisp, which mine are not. I definitely think that's something you should research. Always research like what fabrics are going to be best for each costume, because it does make a huge. I tried to make a Dark Magician girl way back in the day when I first started making with satin. Now you know why I have not cosplayed Dark Magician girl yet. I can't be bothered revisiting it. I'm still distressed, and that was like 5 or 6 years ago. And last but not least, how long do I see myself cosplaying for or making cosplays? Man, I think forever. Like, I don't see an end to this. I don't see the need for an end to this. I'm having so much fun. I love it. It's still always evolving for me. My skills are always evolving. My community is always evolving. My interests are industry. So I don't really have like a, this year I'm gonna quit cosplay or I'm gonna be done. I see it later on, maybe evolving into different things, but yeah, there's no answer for that. I don't know. You've got me for a long time at this point. To all of my Discord pals for submitting your questions. I do enjoy doing these Q&As, especially when there's so many unique questions like that, like very cool. Some people will probably send some questions later, so maybe we'll do another one of these down the line. I still have that channel open on my Discord, so if you do join, you're welcome to throw questions in as well. I can also answer in the moment in Discord if you come hang out with us. Thank you to everybody who sent questions. Thank you to everybody who watched this video. Just thank you for being here. I know I've said this before, but I really am having a lot of fun doing the YouTube thing. If you do like my YouTube videos, please follow me on all of the places if you don't already, and you can catch me live on Twitch on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for being here, pals.